Did you notice when you were holding the posture, as it was getting more and more painful, you were slightly leaning into the next moment? You're in anticipation of when it will end, in anticipation of the next moment. That's why these painful exercises are so good, not just for your form, but for your mental development. So, the idea is that there is no next moment. Yeah? There's just the present. And in the present, everything's perfect. Leaning into the next moment is a thought that arises. And it's so subtle sometimes. You think you're in there mindful, you're holding it, you're doing what you need to be doing. But there's a slight underlying quality of when's this going to end? Or it might be a loud quality. When's this going to end? But there's usually an underlying quality of when it's going to end. If you've got to a level where you're able to deal with that, or there is not that much pain because you're able to deal with it, there's an underlying subtle quality that goes, I'm doing this and this is improving me. Is this improving me? Is this doing what it's supposed to be doing? In anticipation of what's to come the next moment. Yeah, and that's an obstacle. There is no next moment. You're doing this now and that's it. Because that's where the magic is, now. What you're doing now. So next time you do any of the standing postures, and now when you're going to do the form, don't sink down and your mind's going, I'm soon doing the next time doing this. Yeah? Because that's the same thing, you're leaning into the next moment. It might be subtle or it might be quite overt. Just your awareness, yeah, needs to be where it is. We've talked about it many times. You drop your awareness down into your feet, and that's where it is. And just notice what arises in your awareness at that moment. Don't think about the next movement. Don't think about the next movement I'm doing the cross or general carries a seal. Just be in that moment. And then it becomes moving meditation.
That's why I find it easier to do with my eyes closed. Because when my eyes are open, I look at people and then I'm thinking, oh, okay, so this is the next thing to do. Whereas if I'm just here, I'm kind of full of my feelings.
Yeah, no.
But you said that it's better to do with eyes open.
Yeah, it's much easier for most people to be able to get into a state of internalizing with their eyes closed because there's less distractions. But that's very similar to, in my opinion, to people who seek spirituality by going into the forest, by going into the caves. That's not life. Yeah, they might awaken to a high level, but as soon as they come back into society, they're faced with life. They're faced with someone blocking them on traffic or whatever, and they've lost all of their chill. So we need to learn to be able to internalize and be present in the moment regardless of distractions, because that's the real skill that you want. And that's why it's important to keep our eyes open. Yeah?